Well, Wayne, it is the last Sunday of the year.
Yes, it is. I can't. It went by quick for me. I don't know about you, my friend. By the way, Happy New Year's to you and to everybody else out there.
Wayne, I'm very upset right now because there's a little delay on YouTube, and as I'm watching our show start, I'm looking at an ad for Bernie Sanders.
I love it.
Bernie looks even crankier than I do in the morning. What's up with Bernie?
Bernie is Bernie.
I need another house.
I'm trying to figure out, is he the dude that played in the movie Weekend at Bernie's?
I don't know.
I mean, look at him, man. I mean, it'd be like if he was embalmed or something. I'm just saying.
I know. This is actually too marks the first anniversary of Sundays from the Heartland. I've been here a year now.
Well, congratulations on that one.
Yeah, very nice. And it's always nice. I woke up this morning and I checked my messages as I usually do, and the first one says, "You're wicked."
Ooh.
From a girl that had been in the chat room and talking. I thought she was, making some progress, and I realized though it's much easier to make one man wicked than to make your whole world wrong. She's a Christian and starting to come out. And have you watched the show Witcher on Netflix?
I have not. No.
Well, he made a statement on there that gave me kind of a interesting wake-up call. He's a hybrid, and he's a dangerous guy and stuff. And somebody asked him, they call you a hybrid, they call you a monster, why don't you get upset? And he says, I am what they say I am. So they call me an apostate, they call me antichrist, they call me wicked, but from their perspective, I am what they say I am. I mean, my very name, Daugherty, which Daugherty comes from, means the destroyer. So I am what they say I am. So there's no use getting upset about it.
Hey, I mean, at least there's one being truthful in the conversation.
Yeah. And it's funny, my first name means peace of the divine, and my last name means the destroyer. So I guess I got a little bit of both to do.
It's the perfect paradigm.
It is. So
I don't see a problem with that at all.
I decided to just embrace that. So in 2020, I decided to just start destroying shit left and right.
Don't sugarcoat it either. I mean, we're not Willy Wonka here.
I gotta be me, right, Wayne?
I gotta be me. Yeah, there you go. They'll hit us for copyright on that one.
So 2020, here it comes, even more than before, if you can believe that.
So how would you weigh out 19?
It was probably one of the best years for me in a long, long, long time. It was just awesome, amazing.
It's a good year for myself. I look back on it with great fondness. It was a lot of changes. There were some challenges, but
changing.
Hello, there is a star man out there, and
was that Bowie?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, wow.
There's a star man.
I never listened to much of his music.
I saw him in concert right at the end of Ziggy Stardust.
Oh, wow.
It's when he was still in his transvestite stage.
Do you ever come, once you've had a transvestite stage, do you ever come out of it?
I don't know. He really did. I mean, if you look at it, he made music with Freddie Mercury and George Michaels, but at the same time, he had a daughter.
We know married. Birds of a feather, Wayne, they say.
Well, he made good music. That's all I know. And he put on a good concert. It was almost theater to rock.
Eddie Izzard, another renowned transvestite who has de-transvestitized, and when he not only is a great comic, a very gifted actor. He was on the Hannibal TV series, and he was tremendous.
Yeah. I mean, listen, I grew up at the time with Rock Hudson, playing the leading man roles to Doris Day and other leading women at the time. And he was as gay could be.
That was one of the reasons why Rock Hudson could never get insurance. Did you know that? No, It wasn't Rock Hudson. It was Jim Nabors could never get insurance because he'd already had a piece of the rock.
And he was another one. I mean, what the heck?
Golly!
You know, I saw him on Andy of Mayberry, you know, and then Gomer Pyle. I mean, and here it was right out there in front of us.
Yeah.
Isn't the way truth is?
I remember back when Elton John came out, he wasn't gay yet. Quote
Yeah.
unquote. How long did that farce go on? I'm not gay. I'm not gay. All of a sudden, well, yeah, I am sort of gay. And then like, I'm gay.
You know, I saw him in 72 in Houston, and that boy was gay. I mean,
oh yeah. Where's the sweetheart?
I mean, you know, it was just, you know, he was happy. You know, I grew up in the time when gay meant happy, you know,
yeah.
Have a gay old time. Now today,
like
the
Flintstones.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you. You know, I miss, you know, Bedrock.
Oh, so you start thinking about a gay old time. What do they really mean by bedrock? I don't know. Yabba dabba do.
It's odd because if you study music, and I did, I played the clarinet, played the saxophone, and played the flute. And, you know, I got into jazz at a very early age. And you study jazz and you get into the beatnik era. And that was a time of many great philosophers, by the way.
Well, I always played the radio, Wayne.
You did what?
Played the radio.
Played the radio.
Yeah, that was it for me.
Oh, okay. Well,
not musically inclined.
Yeah, well, it taught me discipline, and it taught me order to mathematics. That's how it worked for me.
See, that's why you know, people want to say, "Oh, Tom Cruise is gay." I don't think so, because you know, the best thing he could do for his career is come out as gay.
Yeah,
but he hasn't, so I don't think he is.
I think you know, have you seen Jeff Bezos? I mean, the dude is like,
I don't think I've ever seen him.
He is like super buffed. I don't know what he's taken, but
well, his wife took half his stuff, so I guess maybe he decided he'd start working out instead of chasing another woman.
He doesn't seem to be crying too bad, but man, I mean, he's obviously on to something, you know.
Could you imagine losing billions and still being okay with it, being glad it happened? Wow.
Well, under Trump this year, under the stock market, $17 trillion was generated in wealth to private Americans.
Most ever.
$17 trillion. I mean, and, you know, the predictions are that we're going into a recycle of exactly what happened almost 100 years ago.
Yeah, I know.
The roaring 20s. I mean, the thing that I just look as the hiccup, you know, if something happens on the debt, something triggers that, then I think it's any man's guess or woman's.
I still think that President Trump is going to do something absolutely unprecedented in regards to the debt, and it's going to blow people's minds.
Well, you know, I wouldn't bet against the man.
Yeah.
Let's put it that way. I don't know. I think 2020 is going to hold a year of, you know, looks like the coup is going to continue. Shift is apparently, and this was from the Wall Street Journal, is saying potentially looking at an indictment against Pence.
Yeah, they'll never stop. I mean, I don't get what they're doing. I think maybe part of me says, well, they know they can't beat Trump in an election. They know they don't have anybody has even a ghost of a chance of beating him. So why play their impeachment card now? Maybe wait till next time so they can gain some more garbage and try to find something actually impeachable. But I don't know. I mean, it seems like they've overplayed their hand. All they've managed to do is fire up Trump's base.
Oh,
and they got Democrats fleeing the ship.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I mean, if they go after Pence, then, you know, this is the coup. I've been talking about it for nearly a year, and I'm just surprised that they're playing their cards. I'll use your phrase, the way that they're playing them. Because what it means, if you look at this in one particular vein, let's just say worst case scenario, Pence is indicted. Let's say for some crazy reason, the impeachment charges are upheld. That would put Nancy Pelosi as president.
It would. lot of ifs in that.
Well, no. Listen, that was the extreme worst case nightmare scenario. I don't believe it'll ever get there.
I still stand by my prediction, and it still to today holds true that President Trump will not be impeached. He still hasn't been.
He's not been impeached. That's just it. She's breaking constitutional law. Even the most liberal Harvard and Yale professors are saying the same thing. You can't go. It's like this. It's like the grand jury bills you, under an indictment, but the courts don't serve it.
Yeah, it's interesting.
So are you indicted or are you not?
Yeah. I'll tell you this much. A third term for President Trump is more likely than him being removed due to impeachment.
Well, I don't know. You look at this from a certain point of view. This could potentially, listen, Johnson.
I hear Wayne's the house guest.
Yeah, that's Rocket. He's a terrorist.
Rocket.
Yeah, Rocket.
Oh, what a great name! I have a new sponsor, the Rocket, Wayne.
Oh, cool.
Different Rocket though.
Yeah. Johnson, when
really
the New Deal passed. He go and look on this. Go to the Great Oracle. You'll see it. He told the Senate. He said, "You give me this bill, and I'll deliver you every black man for the next." I think he said the next 10 generations. They'll vote Democrat.
And he was right.
And his prediction has come true. And what most people don't realize, the KKK was started by Democrats.
Absolutely.
Richard Byrd, who sat in the Senate until the formaldehyde finally wore off, he was one of the leading members of the KKK.
Is Gavin Newsom a nephew of Pelosi?
I think he is.
Wow. So California is run by a crime family.
In more ways than what we could ever think.
Yeah.
How odd that you say that. Okay. I like that. Yeah. And I don't know, it's going to be interesting. Is Trump going to reinforce federalism as opposed to what we have right now in this crooked democracy?
Oh, I think there's no doubt about it. He is definitely promoting, promoting Jeffersonian democracy, waging peace instead of war, saying you guys take care of your stuff and we'll fix things down here. So, yeah, I personally am still excited for 4 more years, and until something changes, I'll stay in that mindset.
Yeah. If people vote by their pocketbook, I mean, and I agree, there is a huge dichotomy in this economy. Well, that's a play on words. There is a dichotomy in this economy. I love that. And I think that he's had enough of it. I think that, when he comes in and people say, well, state rights supersede federal rights.
Not anymore.
No. If it's perceived to be a threat, and this is the interesting thing, then the federal government under a republic has every right to do that. And he's he's approaching homelessness as a threat from the inside.
That's interesting.
If people are, number one, do not have a home, do not have a meal, they either become victims or they victimize. And yeah, now I know Ben Carson, and I remember discussions with Ben back in 2013 before we even knew about Trump. And Ben, his whole thing was this whole thing with homelessness. He said the way the system is right now, it's rigged. You're either going to become dependent in poverty, or you'll be outside the realm and basically be homeless without anything. And there is a good argument that says that the homeless are being prejudiced by the states against their constitutional rights.
I wonder, again, my mind works a little differently. Homelessness Is it being engineered to breed dependency upon the government, which means we'll always vote Democrat? Is it another Democratic voting bloc?
I don't know. If you look at the statistics and I'm just talking about LA in here in the last one, they are being denied the right to vote because you have to have an address. You have to have, now many states are trying to do away with that, but then that's a problem. How do you prove that you're a citizen?
Yeah, I can see that.
Mark my word, someone is going to bring a class action lawsuit against the states on this homelessness crisis because this is generated by the states.
Well, why don't these places that are sanctuary cities be sanctuary cities for the homeless? You got to be homeless from another country?
Well, but these sanctuary cities is where the homelessness is at its worst.
Isn't that something? Imagine that.
Yeah. And, the problem of this is really, and I'll just speak from an economist point of view. Homelessness is caused by the simple fact that the individual working class can no longer afford the ability to even rent, much less buy, by the skyrocketing taxes that is predicated upon the 1%ers that are actually ruling these cities. And that's what it is. It's ruling them. There's no democracy. It's nothing like that at all. Many of these cities are all Democrats. And the failed policies of these socialist ideas are evident today. These people there, now some people say, well, there are just some people who want to be homeless. All right, you prove that to me. Because, see, I've been homeless, and I'll guarantee you, Jack, it wasn't due because I wanted to be homeless or anything. And so there we go. Anyway, boy, getting into civil issues here today.
Well, I've never been homeless, but, to me, and again, this is my perspective, and I know it's a different perspective, but I've never been homeless because I've always worked a job, and if there was too much a month at the end of the money, I worked 2 jobs. So I don't know.
Okay, so what you're saying then they're lazy.
I'm saying that the reason I've never been homeless is because I always worked a job, and if there was too much a month at the end of the money, I got another job. So
have you ever been ill where it literally incapacitated you for almost 2 years?
Absolutely no.
Yeah, you see, that's where reality and perceptions intercross each other.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And you never can know a man in his journey until he's actually walked in his shoes. That's why I contend there is no such thing as judgment.
Yeah.
No one's qualified to judge me.
Yeah.
No one, not even a God.
Yeah. But, you talk about walking a mile in my shoes. If you walked a mile in anybody's shoes, how many help wanted signs are you going to pass? I'm just asking the question.
Well, okay, so let's just carry this out. So to get a job today, they'll do a credit check on you. So they base many jobs based on your FICO score. So if you already have a low FICO score, it's already going to be a check mark against you. All right, let's continue. So let's say that you have been unfortunate and gotten a DWI, or you had something else on your record. You have a record. That's a check mark against you. And unfortunately, in America, because of the poor educational standards that we have been empowering for the last 2 decades, you have a group of people who are completely computer illiterate. And that's the third check. And now,
all I can guarantee you one thing: you will never ever have to worry about not having a job. You'll never ever have to worry about not being able to make a pretty decent livable wage if you can learn the fine art of selling stuff to people. You will always have a job, and it doesn't matter if you got 3 felonies, 18 DWIs, and you snorted cocaine before you came to work. If you can sell stuff in a lot of places, cousin, you got a job as long as you keep selling stuff.
I see. I see things in a little different point of view, but
that's just the real world. I mean, I've run these phone rooms, and I didn't care if you were, like I said, I didn't care if you were a felon. I didn't care if you could spell cat. I didn't care if we had to put your orders in because you couldn't work the computer. If you could sell stuff, you could work for me. And there's a lot of people out there. It's getting harder and harder to sell stuff. So if you can, of all the skills in all the world, I would say if you could learn to sell stuff, man, you literally can write your own ticket if you can sell.
Well, we'll see. I disagree with that. It kind of puts the connotation that sales is a con. And I don't see.
A con, it's the hardest work there is. But once you can do it, woo, boy, you're bulletproof.
So you show me in any city right now that has a phone bank that does that, because most of that is outsourced offshore. I know the type of thing you're talking about. It's a different world today, Jeffrey.
And then we got, like, people say, I won't work for commission. Well, then you can't really sell stuff. Mm-hmm. You do have to work for commission, but I'm telling you, if you can sell, you can work. And I've done it for 56 years. So it is what it is. Not everybody can do it. I couldn't do it when I started. I never sold anything, but I quickly figured out, boy, there's good money in selling stuff. So I learned to sell stuff. And I know people don't like that. I know people think it's wrong, but I'm just telling you, if you learn to sell stuff, you will never, ever be homeless unless you want to be.
I disagree, but that's why we have different perspectives. Mm-hmm.
Who are the highest paid people in the world? Commission salespeople.
You don't have to show that to me. Because I think there was a time that there was a real estate. Today,
Scott
real
Severini,
estate.
Do you know real estate people are all commission salespeople?
Yeah. Do you know what? They're also the ones that are the heaviest attacks, because now it's been automated to where your commission was typically a 3% take of the 6% standard. And it's been now because of AI, you have Red Door, you have a number of others that are literally coming in. And so now that commission base is down to 1%.
Which means what? Means you got to be better.
Better against a computer?
I used to have this T-shirt, Wayne, and it says 3 words on it: hustlers love recessions. Yeah, because that's when you make your money, cousin. When all of the other people stay on the porch, the big dog gets out and runs in the tall grass and knocks down the big commissions. I'm just saying.
Well, I say that we're living in a different reality that used to be, but I can assure you it will not be in the future. I just don't. How would you go to sell for a computer software company?
Well, I don't know anything about computer software, but sales is very simple. You call enough people, you're going to find somebody with a need that has what you want, and then you just help them realize that they got that need, and now you got a sale.
You know, the Earl Nightingale was great for the day and the time that it was there. Think and Grow Rich, Napoleon Hill. Mm-hmm. These classics. I mean, I read them. I grew up in it. Mm-hmm. I don't know, because, I worked in the post-production video industry, which was primarily when the industry was converting from film over to video. And, the way that
Blue
I
Rose
came
works
up
at Home Depot with 2 felonies, for what it's worth.
Well, and what are they making an hour?
Yeah.
See, the problem
all I know is this theory worked very well up until 5 years ago. In the last 5 years, I can't say, but up till 5 years ago, it worked splendidly. My theory.
Yeah. I think that if you can sell something, you have that natural ability, it's phenomenal. Because if you get into a certain trade, a certain discipline, it can. But the problem is that the industries, particularly, let's say retail, retail has been in a collapse. For the last 4 years, there have been over 119,000 retail locations that have closed, and they're estimating another 70,000 within the next year. So we're taking.
So
Go
if you're
ahead.
in retail sales, you better step up your game. And I didn't know how to sell when I started. Had never sold anything in my life. Necessity is a great teacher. I had 3 kids, needed to make some money, and I did. I'm just saying. And it worked up until 5 years ago.
And then what started changing?
I got to a place where I didn't have to have an outside job anymore. I'm just selling this now.
And there we go. I love it.
There we are. Boom.
Well, that's what it's all about.
And if you're a salesman and you need a raise, if you're a salesperson, you need a raise, you don't go ask your boss for a raise. You know what you do? You go sell something else. You sell more stuff. You got your own, you write your own check.
You see, behind every salesperson, though, there's the necessity of a complete support structure.
And that's the beautiful thing, Wayne. In business, I don't care what your business is. Pick a business, any business. Nothing happens until somebody sells something.
Yeah, and then nothing happens if that sale. You could be the salesperson who sold the contract, but if the company can't deliver, then but
go work for a company that can.
Yeah, these are
see
things.
If you're good, then you have that confidence to say, "Oh, you won't fulfill my orders." Guess what? Your competitor will. Bye.
I just take a little more humble approach. Listen, I am the best salesperson ever. That's just a fact.
That's a humble approach?
Well, that's just a fact. I don't talk about it, but it's just a fact. When you're raising venture funding, it's the ultimate sales. It's the ultimate close. And I've been successful on that many, many, many times.
Well, you're singing from my sheet of music, Wayne.
Well, actually, I take a little different approach to that, but there's just some people, the vast majority of the population cannot sell.
I don't agree with that. They choose not to try.
The
first thing I ever sold was, what was the first thing I ever sold? The first thing I ever sold was tickets to a concert and softball game for the local firefighters and police association.
The first sale I made was the first girlfriend I had in the first grade.
Yeah, absolutely. That too. I thought you were going to say LSD or weed or something.
No. I mean, yeah. So it's interesting. So going into 2020, what do you see happening?
I tell you what, I say it every day, but I believe it more than ever right now. Things are good and they're getting better. And 2020 is going to be the best year ever for me personally. And I think that if we approach it right and we decide it's going to be the best year ever, all the things are there for this to be the greatest year ever in your life for every single person that's watching.
Mm-hmm. Well, I see a lot of people that have a lot of soul damage. It's interesting. We have our daughter where she works, she has a friend that's, I think, 19. And we had her over for Thanksgiving, and it was an eye-opening evening to hear what she sees the world as.
I'll bet.
And where her concerns were for her generation. And it's, there's some changes out there. Society-wise, culturally-wise, we're in a midst of a change, and it's going to be real curious. I don't know.
Well, I go back. I think the words of, I don't know if it was, I think it was probably Zig Ziglar or if it was Tom Hopkins, but they said that if you think you can or you think you can't, you're right.
Yeah. Yeah, I hope so. I live outside Denver, and Denver is just a violent city, and it's like the rest of the cities. Baltimore exceeded the murder rate. Chicago exceeding the murder rate. Every day here in Denver, there is a story of someone being shot, someone being hit by a car, and the person drives off. I mean, I've never seen a city where pedestrians are almost like bowling pins. And it happens.
I'm just trying to think, of all these cities that we talk about where the murder rates are up, 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 up. I'm trying to remember a city that is predominantly conservative where the murder rates are out of control. I can't think of one right now.
I don't know. What city would you be talking about?
Talking about, a city that's historically predominantly Republican controlled.
Well, you tell me that city, and I think I and a lot of other people would like to see that. I don't know. Most of the larger cities are all pretty much democratically controlled.
And there's a lot of bad violence in them. I wonder if there's a connection there.
I don't know. If I knew of a conservative city, I mean, even in Kansas, it's, I don't know. It's something is happening. It's amazing, and it's happening all over. I mean, people are just some of the things I'm hearing about it. I just shake my head. I'm going, what's going on with people? It's just and it's sad.
It is sad.
It is, and I don't know what the answer is. What?
Scott Shutt with a incendiary remark just tossed into the chat room.
What was that?
You said an all-white city?
I don't know. I remember when the Houston City Council virtually 2 years ago, I guess they voted all the Republicans out. And it's all 100%. And I told someone, I said, well, isn't that communism? I mean, if you don't have any opposition, any opposing voice, then that's communism.
Yeah.
That's dictatorship.
Well, it's at least, it's at least, yeah.
It's tyranny. And we see it here. Let me tell you what they did. Let me tell you what happened here in the city of Aurora. They caught a cop that was drunk on duty, passed out in his patrol car on the freaking street. Now, they had to break the windows, cut off the seatbelt to get him out. Do you think he was charged? No.
I'll bet. Did he? That was his last day as a cop, though, right?
No. He's still a cop. Yeah.
That's so crazy. That is just absolutely nuts.
Yeah.
Speaking of absolutely nuts, I just for some reason got a inkling to check my email, so I checked my email real quick, and David, I think his name is David Weiss. David Weiss. He's from Deep Inside the Rabbit Hole, and he has come up with a fabulous, well, I don't know if it's fabulous, but it's certainly really, really interesting, a very, very interesting new theory, complete with lots of visual, what he would call evidence, that his postulation is that most of the NASA big rockets and the SpaceX big rockets and stuff that they show us are really balloons. And he's going to come on the show this week and talk about it.
Okay. Well,
I love the crazy stuff, Wayne. The further out, the better.
Well, I don't know about crazy, but I I just say to anyone, you can go and see where if you're living in Southern California, Vandenberg, where many of these are popping off from, right there on the Gold Coast in Cape Canaveral. Listen, I don't think that anyway, I'll find that will be interesting.
It will be. I mean, and you can point to, well, here they're being built, here they are, they're building them. And I don't think he's saying they're not building them, but I'm just saying that I think he's saying once they get on the launch pad, that they're really just balloons. And I don't know, it's going to be interesting to see. Like the Macy's Day Parade, says Joyce Marie. And Joyce says that she can't sell, but she can be bought.
Yeah. I think humanity is much more diverse than that. Listen, I can tell you, I have fired more people in sales than most. And I've told many of them, do yourself a favor. You were not cut out for this, something else, and everybody has to sell themselves in life anyway. It's just that others are more, have a natural gift for it.
Yeah.
Acting. Acting is.
I hear you and I understand, but I just think, I mean, I'm a living proof. I couldn't sell, but I learned to sell out of necessity. And I think
But
sales
that's your uniqueness,
I
though,
think you can
Jeffrey.
learn to sell. I mean, you can't just walk in and be a physicist either, or walk in or be an engineer. You got to do training. And I'm just saying, you can learn to sell if you really want to. I don't agree that you can't learn to sell. That you have to be born salesperson. I don't agree with that.
Yeah. I think today people rely too much on technology.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I agree.
And,
Too much? Well, yeah, we do rely a lot on technology. There's no doubt about it.
yeah, it's sad. It's very sad. And today, I mean, you look at the beliefs that many people have. I mean, we have an opportunity to see so many different beliefs, and some I don't understand it. But I've learned to be, flexible enough that everybody ends up living their own reality. Your
Yeah.
death is going to be your individual death. And that's how I see the journey in this life as.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I look at the thing as, how do they have aliens in the Vatican?
It would surprise me if you didn't have aliens in the Vatican.
I showed the video of one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And since we only have a few minutes left because Wayne has to go to the airport.
Yeah.
I'm beginning to think about this whole thing about aliens, because I mean, I'm a Star Trek guy. I love the idea of aliens. I know the math about how many people are in the universe, and aliens. But every time I turn around, I start doing if I can step back and be an objective empirical observer and say, who is promoting aliens? Why are they promoting aliens? And what does the promotion of aliens generally produce psychologically, spiritually, and even financially? And I begin to wonder, are aliens being pushed is the end game of aliens to get us out of here and out there, to keep us afraid, to keep us subject to control? Because it seems like all of the people that are pushing aliens are pushing to a great extent, a fear and guilt control agenda. And maybe there aren't any aliens, and maybe the whole idea is stop looking out there and start looking in here. Well, what are all these beings? Well, maybe they're interterrestrial, not extraterrestrial, but that's way too dangerous to start thinking about. And Susie Q, that's what lazy, frightened people say about sales.
Well, aliens is, what do you define as alien? I mean, we look for life.
Extraterrestrial, out from not from this world.
Yeah. I mean, Carl Sagan,
and I don't believe aliens built these meat suits. I do not believe that we were engineered by aliens to be slaves. I call BS on that. I'm not accepting it.
Do you go with the amoeba theory then?
No, I think that we were created divine, sovereign, and free by beings that at least shoved us off with well intention.
Wouldn't they be aliens?
Well, right, but I'm not saying that. I'm saying we did not get invented by aliens that screwed with our DNA and made it for sure that we were going to be a wreck. They created us to dig gold or tin. I don't agree with that.
Yeah, I mean, it's, if there was a being of a higher intelligence that manufactured us, or we want to use the word create, that's a higher intelligence, and that would be that is alien to man.
Right, and I agree with that. Lucky Stone says Jeff and Wayne are speaking from totally different perspectives. The truth is somewhere in the middle. Maybe that's by design, Lucky Stone. Now, I don't think I do agree we were created by something alien to this world, but I don't think we were, the whole Sitchin, they built us just to dig tin or to dig gold.
The Anunnaki.
And they messed with our DNA and were predispositioned to be slaves. No, I do not buy that. I think we're created divine, sovereign, and free. And if it is to be, it's up to freaking you and me. And it's just time to take responsibility and grab your own bootstraps, pull them up, and get to business, cousins.
I have to quote Tolkien on this one, where he said, "This is the age of man. There have been other ages before, and there will be other ages ahead. But this is our age." And that's indicating of something that there was before. There'll be something ahead. And I say, enjoy the ride, man.
And it is a ride. I mean,
yeah,
like
I
Bill
love
Hicks
it.
said, life's a ride.
As far as life out there, I don't know. Space is big. You, what is it? The thing you can't
Or
hear
is
anyone
it
scream.
big?
Well, some say that we're merely inside the thought of the brain of a creature that's basically the size of our known universe.
Or some say we're inside a firmament, Wayne.
I don't
And
know.
I heard a new one that the firmament goes around the globe. So
Gee,
it's not just a flat Earth firmament. There's a globe firmament too.
Mm-hmm.
There are
Yeah.
all kinds of competing theories out there, and I'm all for competing theories.
I can't understand the flat Earth and magnetics. People say, well, you can easily do it on a piece of paper. Yeah, that's a piece of paper. What we're talking about is the curvature of the Earth, and you can see the curvature of it. You really can. So,
Well, if you have an actual picture of that, Wayne, you should put it out and make $1 million.
there's one place right there in where is it that you can actually see 5 states? Yeah. I mean, the
I don't know that you can
perspective.
see curvature though.
Yeah, it is. I mean, how do you think that radio signals are bounced off?
Well, there's a lot of different theories to that, Wayne.
Well, you explain to me how we can have someone that's watching in Australia where the sun is already up, it's there tomorrow, and you're telling me that, I'm going to be able to sit here from Denver and just bounce a signal to them?
Are you telling me that they're listening to us right now upside down?
Technically, yes.
Really? Okay.
Yes, technically, yes.
And when an airplane flies to Australia, the airplane is flying upside down from our perspective?
Not in the sense of what you're looking at. You're trying to put it like this, but
Well,
no.
if it was a globe and it was going around, it would be flying upside down, right?
You'd be, if I looked down upon you for maybe, let's say, 25,000 feet and you were flying at 5,000 feet, are you flying upside down?
Well, if you're in here, if you're in the US and you're looking at somebody flying a plane in Australia,
Yeah.
then they would be flying, you'd be looking at the bottom of the plane, right?
You'd be seeing the same thing we see here when they take off, the bottom of the plane.
No, that's not what I'm saying. If it's a globe, this is a globe.
Are you saying the Earth is flat?
You're up here flying an airplane, the bottom's going to be down towards the globe.
Mm-hmm.
If you're down here flying an airplane, then the bottom's going to be towards the globe there. So if you're looking through the Earth, you're looking at the bottom of the airplane.
No, I see where you're trying to get, but
that's
we all know
that's a globe. That's the way it would be.
You're seeing the same perspective if any person would see in a terrestrial, whether you're in the north or the south.
But what if I was in orbit and you were at the place around the Earth where I could see you? I would see planes upside down somewhere and people upside down.
No,
it
you
looked like
wouldn't.
a porcupine.
No.
There's no way to get. I don't understand how that could be around that. How you could get around that? If it's round and somebody's on top and somebody's on bottom, then to each other's perspective, they're freaking upside down.
You're looking in a spatial perspective. I understand what you're trying to say, but you're defining what is up and what is down as fact.
I'm defining up and down by up and down. Yeah.
But in space, there is no up and down.
But I'm not in space. I'm on the Earth.
Yeah, you are.
I'm on the Earth.
Yeah, you are. You're on the Earth. Are you serious? Do you really think that the Earth is flat?
I did not say I think the Earth is flat. I just asked you a simple question.
And I told you a very simple answer. It's your perspective.
It's not an answer that is observable.
Sure it is.
I'm asking questions. If it's round and you're on one end of it, one edge of it, and I'm on the other edge of it, we're upside down to each other's perspective if the globe theory and the gravity theory are true. That's all I'm saying.
No.
Wayne, you got to go to the airport, brother.
I do. I got to go and pick up my wife.
That's what this is all about, is different perspectives, different thoughts. And don't make the mistake of thinking that everything we bring up is espoused by the person bringing it up.
Yeah. Listen, a lot of people don't believe we went to the moon, but Hey, you know,
I don't believe we went the way they showed us. That's all I'm
yeah,
saying.
yeah, we went. I think. Did you see that show I did on the patent that has been granted?
No, but you only got it's 4:40,
Yeah, I know. Yeah, yeah,
45.
I know when she lands, but you ought to think about this fact that those TR3Bs, they're real.
And here's another thing: 70% of the Earth is covered by water. Water is always flat. I'm just saying. Just saying.
Yeah.
But anyway,
There's the rotation factor, though, right?
is there?
Well, if not, then we'll be floating off. That's the thing that apparently keeps us nailed to the ground.
This is fun stuff.
It
This is
is fun stuff. Well,
Wayne,
have
what do you got
yourself a
coming up
good New
this week?
Year's Eve. Are you there?
Yeah, what do you got coming up this week?
I am merely doing kind of a review. New Year's is on Wednesday, and yeah, just strange stuff out there, Jeff. A lot of strange stuff.
And there's a lot of strange stuff right here too. We don't even have to go out there to find strange stuff. That's
Oh
kind
no,
of
I'm talking about right here.
exactly right.
It's
Freaking
crazy.
here.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
All right, my
I
friend.
wish
Have a
you a
safe
happy
trip.
New Year, my
You
friend.
as
A
well, and we'll see
good
you
one.
again in 2020.
Next Sunday will be the first Sunday of the year.
Boom. How about that?
Boom. All
Give
right.
my love to Lynn. Thanks to
Back
all
to
of you that are here
Cynthia.
in the chat room. We
Happy
appreciate
New
you very
Year's,
much.
folks.
Subscribe to the Wayne Steiger channel. Subscribe to this channel. And ladies and gentlemen, we'll see you again next Sunday, first Sunday of the new year. Until then, for Wayne Steiger, I'm Jeffrey Daugherty, encouraging all of you to unindoctrinate yourself and make sure that you keep supporting Wayne. He's a good man.
Thank you, Jeffrey.
Take care.
Love you, brother. All right. Bye-bye.